I am a villainous side character. While participating in a parenting reality show, my obedient son always got into fights with the Queen V's little troublemaker, Bear. No matter how hard I tried to win over her son, ignoring my own child in the process, the internet was furious. Viewers called me unfit to be a father, accusing me of joining the show just to suck up to Queen V. But then, in the next moment, something inside me snapped. I suddenly woke up. Without hesitation, I smacked Bear's backside and sternly scolded him. "Oh, so now hitting others is reasonable, is it? Keep it up and I'll shave your head bald. Go reflect on your actions in the corner, right now." Later that night, Queen V knocked on my door and asked, "What do you do when your eldest son refuses to go to bed? Are you just going to care for one son and ignore the other?" As if on cue, an argument erupted somewhere nearby. "Your dad's an idiot." "No, your dad's the idiot. Calling my dad names won't work on me. Bounce back. Everything bounces back." I was speechless. In the villa's living room, their shouting was deafening. Before I could react, one of the kids barreled into me, causing me to stumble backward. The juice I had been holding spilled all over my shirt, the ice cubes sending a chilling shock down my spine. In that instant, a flood of memories surged through my head. It all became clear. I had transmigrated into the world of a book, where I was cast as a villainous side character. I had been secretly married to Queen V, real name Victoria, for a year. Victoria had twin sons, and we each took care of one of them. In the book, I was desperate to avoid divorce, so I bent over backward to please both Victoria and her son, Bear. My behavior was so obsequious that even the Statue of Liberty would have stepped aside in second-hand embarrassment. Meanwhile, the male lead, Ethan, was the epitome of a warm and doting husband. Childhood sweethearts with Victoria, they were the universally beloved couple, shipped by millions of fans. After divorcing me, Victoria quickly married Ethan, and the twins grew to love him. In the subsequent plot, jealousy consumed me. I repeatedly tried to sabotage their family of 4. In the end, my jealousy led me to kidnap Ethan, a move that resulted in my tragic demise. Damn it, that's terrifying. I wanted to divorce Victoria immediately, lock her and Ethan together, and wish them a dozen kids and an eternally happy life. But the problem was, I was currently on the set of a parenting reality show. I had coerced Victoria into joining the show by using our son, Dawn, as leverage. Dawn was the obedient son I was taking care of. Oh, and by the way, Victoria and I were participating in the show separately, and the audience still didn't know we were married. According to the original plot, I planned to drop the bombshell about our marriage during the show, using public opinion to tie her to me. But if I did that, I'd be a certified idiot. Not only would our secret be blown wide open, but our marriage would also be irreparably doomed. The 2 kids currently screaming in the living room were none other than our twin sons. Dawn and Sunny were fraternal twins and didn't look much alike, but both were utterly adorable with their chubby cheeks and big bright eyes. However, their personalities couldn't have been more different. Dawn was sweet and well-behaved, while Sunny was a little tyrant, the kind of kid who could make even the most patient dog shake its head in despair. The latest fight had started because Sunny had snatched Dawn's toy and even knocked over the block tower he'd been building. Sunny, being a full size larger than Dawn, had scratched him with his chubby little hands. Now Dawn was squatting by the coffee table, his teary eyes glaring at Sunny in silent frustration. Meanwhile, Sunny stood tall, clutching the stolen toy and yelling insults. His smug and unreasonable attitude screamed, "Great a brat!" Damn it. I was fuming just looking at him. I sprang to my feet in a single fluid motion and strode forward. At my sudden movement, Dawn flinched, his face filled with disappointment, as though he was certain I'd take Sunny's side. Sunny, on the other hand, puffed out his chest with a triumphant smirk, clearly expecting me to defend him. But he had it all wrong. That's what the old me would have done. Right now, I had all the clarity in the world. Why on earth would I ignore my kind and thoughtful son to coddle a brat who only liked the male lead? Had I lost my mind? I snatched the toy from Sunny's hands and returned it to Dawn. Smiling warmly, I said, "Don't cry, son. Daddy got your toy back for you." Then, turning to Sonny, I dropped the smile and sternly warned, "Try stealing my son's toy again and see what happens. If your mom won't teach you a lesson, I'll do it for her." For a moment, Sonny was stunned. His little mouth fell open in disbelief. Then he burst into tears, ran to my legs and screamed, "You dare take my toy? I'm telling Mommy. She'll never speak to you again." The live chat exploded. What the hell is wrong with Sincere? Kids fighting is normal. Why is he interfering like this? And being so harsh to Sonny of all people? That's Queen V's son. How dare he? I'm so mad I could punch something. Isn't Sincere always sucking up to Victoria? Why is he suddenly being so mean to Sonny? Is his true nature finally showing? Wait, I didn't catch what happened. But it must have been Sincere's creepy kid who started it, right? That kid's too well behaved, it's unnatural. I almost laughed out loud. Society's standards were so warped. A well-behaved child wasn't normal, but a bratty one was? Give me a break. Thinking back to the time a relative's brat broke my entire model collection and then had the audacity to call me the intolerant one, I felt my blood pressure rise. Call me an exposed villain if you want. In my past life, I died of a heart attack caused by a bratty kid. In this life, I wasn't putting up with any of that nonsense. I glared at Sonny and shouted, "First of all, you stole Don's toy and hurt him. Apologize to my son right now. Secondly, only a parent who enables this kind of behavior. Your mom isn't much better. You better tell her to stay out of my business, or I'll scold her too." The moment I raised my voice, Sonny started wailing even louder. His little temper tantrum flared up as he grabbed whatever he could from the coffee table and hurled it at the floor. Crash bang! The sound of breaking glass echoed through the room as fruit bowls and cups shattered on impact, leaving shards scattered all over the floor. Being well versed in dealing with unruly kids, I remained calm. Without hesitation, I grabbed Sonny and tossed him onto the big sofa nearby. The little guy tumbled around like a chubby ball, ending up with his face buried in a pillow. He even let out a startled hiccup, momentarily forgetting to hurl any words of protest. I bent down to help Donnie up, brushing off his clothes to ensure no shards had stuck to them. "Come on, let's not waste time playing with the little troublemaker. Daddy will take you to wash your face." Hearing my words, Sonny scrambled to get off the sofa, but I shot him a warning glare. "If you step down, those glass shards will cut your foot. You'll be bleeding everywhere and won't be able to eat any drumsticks for 3 days. Clearly frightened, Sonny retracted his chubby foot and glared at me indignantly. "Then why don't you come and carry me? Aren't you supposed to love me?" I snorted. "Am I your mom? I just threw you, now you want me to carry you? Go find your mom for a cuddle." The live comments exploded. "Sincere is too much. Why can't he just carry Sonny? Throwing Sonny like that, isn't that child abuse? No wonder he's getting roasted online. Actually, I think he threw Sonny onto the sofa to keep him from stepping on the glass. And honestly, Sonny smashing things when he's mad is such a bad habit." Exactly. I feel like I'm at my relative's house dealing with a bratty kid. My blood pressure just spiked. Some people argued back, "He's just 6 years old, for heaven's sake. Kids act out sometimes. Can't we be more forgiving? Sincere is such a jerk. Being that mean to a child? What kind of person does that make him?" Just then, footsteps sounded at the villa's entrance. The comment section went wild. "Moonlord Ethan, my prince, has arrived. Ethan's here to save Sonny. Thank goodness. Ethan's so handsome. Compared to that child-abusing Sincere, he's a real man. Queen V must have sent Ethan to help with Sonny. I hear Ethan and Sonny get along great. Finally, we'll see how parenting should be done." Ethan entered, dressed in a pristine white casual suit, radiating an aura of quiet confidence. He was effortlessly handsome, towing a large suitcase in one hand and carrying a pizza box in the other. His warm smile lit up the room as he stepped in. Ethan had been invited as a special guest for the show. Queen V, being the celebrated actress she was, had a tight shooting schedule nearby and couldn't always be around for Sonny. I figured the show's producers brought Ethan in for the buzz. Fine by me. If you wanted to babysit Sonny the brat, I could finally take a break. Ethan greeted me with a polite smile, then placed the pizza box on the table. He called out to Sonny, "Sonny, Uncle got your favorite pizza. Should I cut it for you?" The comments erupted again. "Oh my God, Ethan is so gentle. He's amazing with kids. Compared to a certain someone, Ethan is an angel. I'm in love." This is how kids should be treated, with kindness and patience, not like that brute Sincere. The over-the-top praise made me roll my eyes. Sonny, emboldened by the comments, suddenly puffed up with pride. Pointing at me and Donnie, he declared loudly, "They can't have any pizza. They can watch me eat and drool unless they beg me for forgiveness. What a little brat. Did he think a pizza was some gourmet delicacy?" Ethan began to gently reason with him. "This pizza is just for you." Before he could finish, I cut in with a cold laugh. "Don't flatter yourself. Fast food pizza? My son doesn't even like it. Let's go, Donnie. Daddy will make you a real pizza." I tousled Donnie's hair lovingly, my tone softening. Donnie looked up at me with those big, serious eyes, saying nothing but looking every bit the sweet, obedient child he was. My son, who else would I pamper if not him? Sonny seemed angered by my words. Bouncing on the sofa, he shouted, "Sincere, you stop right there." I just shook my head, muttering under my breath, Not listening. Holding Donnie's hand, I headed for the kitchen. I started preparing the ingredients for the pizza, tuning out whatever tantrum Sonny was throwing outside. Probably Ethan had already calmed him down. I didn't care to check. As I worked the cheese, a small, cool voice broke the silence. "Sonny doesn't like cheese." Surprised, I looked down to see Donnie sitting on a tiny stool, his face expressionless as always. He continued in his calm, serious tone, "If you put so much cheese, he won't eat it. You're just wasting your effort." I paused, staring at him. For such a little guy, his words carried an almost unsettling maturity. Donnie, being Queen V's son too, had always been overshadowed by Sonny. Before I had woken up, I was desperate to win Sonny's favor, often neglecting Donnie in the process. Sometimes I even scolded him unfairly. Donnie had grown quieter and quieter, eventually developing mild depression. But now I wasn't going to let that happen again. Donnie was innocent in all this. Such a sweet, thoughtful child deserved so much more. I smiled at him and said, "Daddy refused to cook for him. Wasn't Ethan around to help? Plus, who eats a pizza without cheese? Daddy made it for you because you love cheese, didn't he?" Don clearly didn't believe me, let out a cold snort, and turned his back on me. I scooped him up and said, "My good boy, I know you didn't start the fight with Sonny earlier. Don't worry. If he ever bullies you again, Daddy will make sure justice is served. Now give Daddy a kiss." The next second, Don squirmed out of my arms and stammered, "You're not allowed to kiss me. I'm a boy, not a girl who needs kisses and hugs." His fair little ears turned pink and he scurried to a corner, refusing to look at me. The live chat exploded with laughter. "Ha ha ha, I'm dying. How did I not notice Dawn was this adorable? Those blushing ears are too cute. Dawn's such a good boy. When he's upset, he just hides in a corner instead of throwing a tantrum. If only my little bear were this well behaved." How could someone as lovely as Dawn be Sincere's kid? That jerk got so lucky. Some disagreed. I think Sonny's way cuter than Dawn. That comment got an immediate rebuttal. "You must be a fan of Queen V. Dawn's way more well-behaved than Sonny, unless you're blind, it's obvious." Remember when Sincere used to favor Sonny and scold Dawn? I felt so bad for him back then. But now that Sincere's finally treating him right, I'm so happy for Dawn. The live chat's perception of Dawn gradually shifted. Instead of criticizing him, they were now praising him for being sweet, adorable, and mature. I nodded in satisfaction. Good kids deserve compliments. Dinner was ready just as the pizza finished baking. I whipped up some Milanese pork chops, Peruvian fried rice, and Mexican chicken wraps to go with it. As I set the dishes on the table, Ethan and Sonny walked in. Ethan had brought a pizza, but surprisingly no one had even opened the box. I picked up Don, tied a bib around his neck and said, "Son, dinner's ready. Start with Daddy's special cheese pizza." Sonny suddenly shouted in a bratty tone, "I want pizza too." Ethan's eyes sparkled as he lovingly patted Sonny's head. "Sonny, Uncle Ethan will cut you a slice right now. What else do you want for dinner?" Sonny dodged his hand and pouted. "I want Peruvian fried rice and chicken wraps. You make them for me." Ethan chuckled. "How about Uncle orders takeout for you instead?" But Sonny wasn't having it. He glared at me fiercely and growled, "I want homemade food." What a peculiar kid. Why glare at me while talking to Ethan? I didn't provoke him, and there were witnesses to prove it. Ethan looked a bit awkward for a moment before turning to me. "Sincere, did you make enough to share with Sonny? It's late, and there's no time to cook more. We can't let the kid go hungry." I replied, "It's funny how there's time to order takeout but not to cook. Isn't that odd?" Ethan seemed taken aback but quickly put on his professional smile. "I apologize. I've got a demanding job unlike you who spends your days gaming and experimenting with recipes. You've got so much free time. Ah, here we go again, Mr. Successful Businessman looking down on us trust fund babies." I shrugged. "Well, good for you, but I only made enough for Dawn and me." Dawn looked at me in shock, his little hands freezing mid-air as he was about to push his plate away. Clearly, he'd expected me to tell him to share with Sonny. I sighed, grabbed a napkin, and wiped Dawn's mouth gently. "Take your time, son. Is the pizza too salty?" Dawn stared at me for a long moment, then replied seriously, "It's just right." I nodded. "Then Daddy will take that as a compliment." Watching Dawn eat so seriously, I couldn't help but think of the unfair treatment he'd endured in the past. My heart ached, and I leaned down to plant a fatherly kiss on his forehead. Suddenly there was a loud bang. Sonny had knocked over his water glass, shaking the entire table. Ethan rushed over in alarm. "Sonny, are you okay? Did you hurt your hand?" Of course, Sonny wasn't hurt, but the table was a mess, with water spilled everywhere. Dawn, ever the little neat freak, immediately looked uncomfortable. I decided to take him to the living room to finish his meal, but Sonny unexpectedly grabbed my pant leg, stopping me. His round little face scrunched up as he demanded, "You're not allowed to leave." I stared at him in disbelief. "Kid, are you grabbing the wrong person? Your favorite Uncle Ethan is right there." In a cold and distant tone, I added, "What do you want? Let go, kid." Sonny glared at the hand I'd placed protectively on Dawn's shoulder, then, out of nowhere, shoved Dawn's plate to the floor. My carefully prepared food and pizza smashed into a mess. "Oh, so you want to mess with me, huh? Did I owe bratty kids a favor in a past life? Because that's the only explanation for this nonsense. And wasting food? That's a crime in itself." I was furious. Letting go of Dawn, I marched straight toward Sonny. Dawn sat back in his seat, a knowing look on his face as if to say, "I knew you couldn't hold it in." His playful expression disappeared, replaced by a neutral one. Sonny, meanwhile, looked smugly prepared for me to grovel and apologize to him. But instead, I grabbed Sonny by the back of his shirt, yanked him off his chair, and smacked his chubby little bottom. The room fell silent. Dawn froze. Sonny froze. Ethan froze. The live chat and even the production crew froze. Time seemed to stand still for a good 20 seconds. Sonny finally realized he had been spanked and immediately burst into loud wails. "You hit me. Sincere, how dare you hit me, you bad man? I'm telling Mommy and she'll." Before he could finish, I smacked his little chubby butt again and said, "Oh, really? So I can't discipline you when you've done something wrong? Breaking things, making a mess. Do you actually think you're in the right? Look at the disaster you've caused." As I scolded him, I continued to give his plump little bottom a few firm but harmless smacks. Sonny was adorably chubby, his little bottom especially so, making it impossible to hurt him, but enough to make him feel it. Pain, after all, leaves a lasting impression. Some lessons have to be learned the hard way. If children aren't taught properly during their formative years, they could grow into real troublemakers. I mean, look at the kid who lived across from us growing up. No discipline, and by his teens he was openly harassing girls. After 5 or 6 firm smacks, Sonny began to realize I wasn't bluffing. He wriggled his tiny, pudgy body to no avail, and finally started to plead. Okay, I won't say anything. I won't tell Mommy, just stop hitting me, please. I said sternly. Apologize to Donnie and promise you'll never throw or break things again. I promise, Sonny muttered reluctantly. Just as he was about to apologize, Ethan suddenly snapped out of his daze and rushed over. Sincere, are you out of your mind? How can you hit a child? No matter what, as an adult, you shouldn't lay a hand on him. The next second, he pulled Sonny toward him, his face filled with unspeakable anguish. Sonny, don't cry. Uncle's here. Let's see who dares to touch even a single hair on your head. Ethan turned slightly to face the camera as he spoke, reaching out to wipe Sonny's tear-streaked red cheeks. But Sonny abruptly shoved Ethan's hand away, wriggled out of his arms, and waddled back over to me. His little hands clung tightly to my pants as he complained, You hit me and it hurt. You're ruthless. Sniffling, Sonny added in a mix of anger and pitifulness, You have to take responsibility. Tonight, you need to wash my feet, tell me an adventure story, and put me to bed. Donnie can go sleep with Mommy. I was dumbfounded. Ethan looked equally bewildered. The livestream chat exploded after a moment of stunned silence. Ethan is such a gentle prince. I almost fainted when Sincere turned into a tyrant spanking that poor child. That was way too much. Wait, is Sonny showing signs of Stockholm Syndrome or something? Actually, Sincere isn't entirely wrong. Sonny was being a little terror earlier. I didn't see Donnie provoking him. Sonny was just throwing a tantrum. Watching him misbehave made me so mad. He reminded me of my own kid back then. Sometimes a spanking is necessary. Agreed. Sincere didn't cross the line. It's Sonny who started it. Feels like he's just trying to get Sincere's attention. That last smack? Perfectly executed. Every family needs a strict father figure. Overindulging kids doesn't work. Sonny was still clinging to my pant leg, wailing. Ethan, thinking Sonny was terrified of me, tried to coax him over again. Come here, Sonny. Don't be scared. Uncle's here. But Sonny shrank further behind me, his chubby little finger pointing at Donnie. Dawn, hurry up and go to Mommy. Sincere's going to tell me a story tonight. He promised. You can go with Uncle Ethan now. I was speechless. Since when did I promise that? Ethan looked just as stunned as I was. The live chat was in chaos again. LMAO. Looks like Sonny doesn't actually hate Sincere. He clearly likes him. What a little tsundere. Wait, something feels off. Sonny sounds like he's whining to his daddy. Hold up. Did anyone else notice? Sonny's last name is also Sincere's last name. Coincidence? Or am I onto something huge here? I sighed and glanced down, only to see Sonny suddenly wrapping his arms tightly around my leg. With a mix of bossiness and urgency, he declared, Mommy's back. Tell her you're going to tell me a story tonight and take me with you. Startled, I looked up. A slim, elegant figure walked in from outside. The live chat numbers skyrocketed to unprecedented levels. Victoria had returned. After a full day of filming, she looked flawless, no trace of exhaustion, dressed in a white, cinched waist gown that accentuated her curves and complemented her stunning features. She was breathtaking, truly deserving of her title as Queen V. Even the chat erupted into a storm of compliments. I couldn't help but steal a glance at her myself. Damn, she really was beautiful. But I quickly averted my gaze. No way was I going to end up like the poor sucker in the storyline, who met a tragic end. Victoria, you're here, Ethan said with a warm smile. Seeing her gaze sweep over the mess in the room, he immediately began to explain. Sincere hit Sonny earlier. Poor thing's been crying non-stop. I was just about to get a doctor to check if he's hurt. The live chat erupted again. Uh-oh. Queen V is gonna blow up. Her precious baby got hit? Sincere's definitely getting sued. Victoria's eyes landed on me, her brows knitting together. You hit Sonny? She asked. I smirked. Perfect, I thought to myself. I'd been planning to divorce her and find a second chance at love anyway. If she wanted to pick a fight on the reality show, even better. Let's blow this up, make a scene, and call it quits once we're off the air. Cracking my neck, I replied nonchalantly, "Yeah, so what?" I hit him because he stole my son's belongings, hit my son, smashed plates, threw food, and yelled. As his mother, how did you raise such a brat? If you won't teach him, someone else will. I hit him lightly. What, you have a problem with that? The comment section erupted in laughter. Ha 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 ha, Sincere is killing me. So savage. I'm dying. It's like he's saying, I hit your kid. What are you gonna do about it? This is the first time this show has made me laugh so hard. Sincere is unexpectedly winning me over. I wonder how Queen V will react. Will she slap Sincere? But in the next moment, Victoria's red lips curved into a smile as she looked at me and said, "Well done. Sonny is just too mischievous, and I rarely have time to discipline him. I could really use someone to help teach him a lesson. I'll be counting on you from now on, Sin. Thank you so much." I was speechless. It felt like Sonny was the only casualty of this world. Meanwhile, Ethan stood there completely stunned, forgetting for a moment to control his expressions, his face a mask of utter shock. The comments rolled in, "Oh my, this is the first time I've seen Ethan look like this. Wasn't he just saying he didn't know how serious the injury was and that they should get a doctor? Isn't this just fanning the flames between Sincere and Victoria? What a manipulative move. Honestly, he's been jumping around the whole time, and I've had enough. You let your brat run wild and then defend him when he gets into trouble. Isn't that just harming your own kid?" The comment section's tone completely shifted. Ethan's fans either went silent or tried to defend him, only to be shut down. Within an hour, 2 hashtags trended at the top. Ethan the fake caring dad, real harmful parent, and Sincere disciplining the brat, a parenting model worth emulating. But that wasn't even the most shocking part to me. What stunned me was the 3rd and 4th trending hashtags. Victoria's gaze at Sincere is full of affection, and Victoria calling Sin sounds so much like a doting wife. Underneath were countless comments shipping me and Victoria as a couple. People were writing things like, the strict yet gentle chef dad and the cold but tender Queen Fee, and even posting 10,000-word essays about us. I was speechless. What was going on? I wanted a divorce. Ethan and Victoria were supposed to be getting married. Why weren't they shipping them instead? How could they get it so wrong? Shocked, I quickly scooped up Donnie and slipped back into our room. Later that night, I was lying in bed with Donnie in my arms, just about to drift off to sleep when I felt him squirm out of my embrace. He pulled the blanket over me, then snuggled back into my arms. I opened my eyes and whispered, "Thanks, son." Donnie froze for a second, then lay back down and said in an old soul tone, "You're welcome, but I just got up to pee and happened to fix the blanket for you." I chuckled and replied, "Donnie, you're so thoughtful. Daddy is so proud of you for caring about others, but you also need to look out for yourself, okay? Otherwise, people might take advantage of your kindness. Come here, let Daddy give you a kiss." Donnie's ears turned bright red as he quickly covered his face and rolled over, but this time, he wasn't upset. In fact, he even scooted a little closer to me, as if he wasn't as distant as before. I was about to tease him a bit more when there was a sudden knock on the door. The comments section was buzzing, "Ah, who's knocking?" I was just getting emotional about Sincere and Donnie's bonding moment. This is so touching. Sincere is such a fair and loving dad. That's what parenting should look like. As a man whose wife is 7 months pregnant, I've learned so much from this. Who dares interrupt Sincere's father-son moment? So annoying. I opened the door, and to my surprise, it was Victoria. She was wearing a dark red silk nightgown, her hair still slightly damp from a shower. Her mature charm was on full display. I asked, "Did you knock on the wrong door?" I was baffled, thinking she must have mistaken my room for Ethan's. But Victoria bit her lip and said, "Sonny is acting up and refusing to go to sleep." I was speechless. Completely dumbfounded, I asked, "What does that have to do with me? After all, he wasn't even my kid." Victoria replied, "How does it not? You're his father, aren't you?" Her beautiful watery eyes gazed at me, filled with grievance. Are you only going to care about one of your sons? I was in shock. This was too much self-disclosure. And wasn't her so-called prince, Ethan, still in the picture? The comments exploded. What the heck? Victoria just said what? Oh my God, she said his father, underline that. What's going on? What's the relationship between Victoria and Sincere? Are they married? For the first time, I no longer had to worry about a specific trending topic, because now the entire trending list was filled with me and Victoria. I couldn't help but laugh out of sheer frustration. But Victoria, looking completely innocent and unaware of the chaos her words had caused, casually carried Sonny into my room. I have an important scene to rehearse tonight, she said. Can you watch him for me? Please, honey. I promise I'll make it up to you tomorrow. The comments section went wild. What does make it up to you mean? Be specific. The way she said that. Is she the one chasing after Sincere? Someone chimed in. Ethan is so gross. They're all in the same industry. He had to know Victoria was married, yet he's still so friendly with her. Disgusting. Another replied. He's clearly trying to steal someone else's wife. What a creep. I stared blankly at the comments. I didn't feel much about Ethan being dragged, but how was I supposed to get a divorce now? Looking down at the two kids on the bed, one plump, one slim, I found myself locked in a six-eyed stare. Donnie, with the demeanor of a little adult, coolly said, Do you want me to sleep in the guest room? I asked, stroking Don's cheek gently. Be good, son. You sleep here with Daddy, I said. But what about me? Sonny protested, clearly displeased. He instinctively grabbed a pillow and looked ready to throw it, but one sharp glance from me made his tiny chubby hand tremble. He lowered his voice, looking a bit guilty. Where am I supposed to sleep then? I gave him a pointed look and said, Aren't you always saying you like Uncle Ethan the most? Before I could finish Sonny's round, chubby face changed instantly. He lunged at me, grabbing onto my pajama pants with his little hands. No way, he's not my daddy. You are. You promised to tell me a bedtime story, he declared, his tone defiant. Dawn, showing no mercy, chimed in, You used to never even call him Daddy. You said you didn't want him to be your dad and told him to leave, did you forget? Sonny shot back, eyes wide with indignation. Dawn, if you say one more word, I'll beat you up, believe me or not. His little round eyes glared fiercely at his younger brother. I immediately became stern. Sonny, how can you be so mean to your little brother? He's family or blood. Is that how a big brother is supposed to act? If you bully him again, you'll be facing the wall in timeout. The live chat streamed across my vision. Sin just admitted it, LOL. These brothers are polar opposites. One's a little tsundere, the other is cool and aloof. One's chubby, the other's slim. That house must be so lively. Sin, don't let Sonny bully Dawn, okay? Keeping the peace is up to you. Hearing this, Sonny immediately threw himself into my arms. He's my real brother, and you're his daddy, so you're my daddy too. If you're telling him a bedtime story, you have to tell me one too. I'm not going anywhere. I sighed, utterly exasperated. That night, I ended up sleeping with both little rascals. Thankfully, they weren't too disruptive during the night. When I woke up, Sonny was still clinging to my arm, his chubby little face pressed against my chest. He mumbled in his sleep, Don't leave me, Daddy. Don't go. Looking at him, I couldn't help but feel a pang of pity. The kid was actually kind-hearted deep down, just spoiled and a little headstrong since no one had been around to discipline him much. If his father had always been there for him, he might have turned out differently. Wait, what was I thinking? No. I needed to focus on my plan, divorce from Victoria. After getting up and heading downstairs, I saw the other parents, moms and dads alike, had brought their kids along for breakfast. Once we'd eaten, we all went to the beach to search for seashells, but Ethan was nowhere to be found. Confused, I saw a comment pop up in the live chat. Ethan really bowed out, huh? He's getting roasted online for trying to steal someone's wife and kid. No way he's coming back from this. Curious, I checked my phone and found that Ethan was indeed getting dragged all over social media. This morning, he'd even posted a tweet claiming he didn't know about my marriage to Victoria, calling the backlash against him a misunderstanding. But within half an hour, he'd been exposed. Photos of him attending our wedding and giving us a lavish gift were dug up. Honestly, what was the point? Why even try something like that? Still, I couldn't help but wonder about Victoria. Our childhood friend was getting trashed online. Was she so upset that she couldn't focus on her work? Clearly, I was overthinking it. Victoria, the Queen V, wasn't one to let something like that bother her. To my surprise, she even started interacting with me more frequently. What did that mean? Didn't she like Ethan? I was utterly baffled. Whatever. Women were too complicated. Playing with the kids was way more straightforward. Having a son like Dawn made me feel proud as a dad. As for Sonny, he'd mellowed out over the past 3 days. He still had his moments of acting out, but I had a strict policy. Any tantrums, property damage, or bullying of Dawn were met with a classic 3-step punishment: spanking, timeouts, and writing apologies. After a few rounds of this, Sonny finally learned his lesson. He even started looking after Dawn and acting more like a proper big brother. Meanwhile, the son of a celebrity from another group was a notorious troublemaker. One day, while I was disciplining Sonny, her kid deliberately spilled a drink on him. I couldn't hold back and gave her kid a couple of firm pats on his chubby bottom. Who could stand a brat like that? I fully expected the celebrity mom to confront me about it later. Instead, she came to my room that night with her son in tow, asking me to watch him for the evening and teach him some discipline. She even asked for my contact info and had several of her friends add me, all begging me to help straighten out their misbehaving kids. To my surprise, the live chat wasn't mad at me. It was full of comments like, "Finally, someone's taking these brats down a notch," and "Sonny's dad for the win. Every bratty kid needs to go through Sincere's discipline boot camp." It even became a catchphrase, the Sincere Daddy method. Somehow, this whole thing snowballed into offers from over 10 children's brands asking me to be their spokesperson, with jaw-dropping endorsement fees. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Clearly, everyone had been traumatized by unruly kids. Well then, let's all tackle the brat epidemic together. On the final day of filming, Victoria and I kept our distance to make the divorce easier later on. Today's destination was a stunning little island. As we got off the boat, I carried Dawn, who was feeling seasick. Sonny, meanwhile, clung to me like a little caterpillar. Reaching out to touch Donnie's ear, I said, "Slim, what's wrong with you? You're so weak." Because someone had called him fat, Sonny started calling Dawn Slim. Though the little guy grinned cheekily, his tone carried a hint of concern. I chuckled and said, "Don't worry. Dawn was probably a whale in his past life, which is why he gets seasick now." Sonny quickly asked, "What about me? What was I in my past life?" Dawn looked up and said, "You were a black boar." Sonny retorted, "Dawn, I'm going to hit you." The two little ones started playfully squabbling. Of course, Sonny didn't actually hit him. I had taught him not to hit anyone unless it was for self-defense. After being disciplined enough times, he had thoroughly learned his lesson. Watching the kids laugh and play, I felt a tinge of sadness. After all, we had spent so much time together, and it's impossible not to feel attached. But once the show ends, Victoria and I will get divorced, and I'll have nothing to do with them anymore. Still, I should be able to visit them and cook for them once in a while. Suddenly, the director called me over to the center of the island, saying they had a secret task for me to do alone. Curious, I walked over, wondering what it might be. Could it be some kind of prank? When I reached the center of the island, I was completely stunned. Amidst the flowers was a massive cake, several meters tall, so beautiful it looked like something straight out of an animated movie. "Sin, happy birthday." Victoria suddenly appeared from behind me. She was wearing a stunning long dress and had her makeup done to perfection. When I turned around to face her, she unexpectedly flung herself into my arms in a playful, coquettish manner. Startled, I stammered, What are you doing?" She looked up at me with a pitiful expression and said, Sin, I know you want to divorce me. You texted Mommy about it yesterday, she told me. But I don't want a divorce. I've always liked you. Victoria gazed up at me, her delicate rosy face glowing beautifully in the sunlight. Can we not get divorced, please? She pleaded. I asked, why do you even like me? Frozen in disbelief, I added, we've barely seen each other or talked over the past year of marriage. Victoria slowly explained, that's because you used to be my sister's boyfriend. Do you remember Sophie? I was taken aback. Sophie was my ex-girlfriend, or more accurately, my fake ex-girlfriend. Sophie and I had been introduced by our families, and not wanting to disappoint our parents, we pretended to be together. We had agreed to stay out of each other's way. At the time, however, I had someone I genuinely liked, a teammate I played online games with. But before I could tell her about my arrangement with Sophie, that teammate suddenly cut all contact with me. I never imagined that this teammate was actually Victoria. Sophie, as it turned out, was Victoria's biological sister, sharing the same parents but taking their mother's last name, which was why she was called Sophie instead of Victoria. Victoria misunderstood my relationship with her sister, thinking I had cheated on her, and in her anger she deleted and blocked me. 2 months later, Sophie and her boyfriend tragically died in a car accident. Only then did Victoria's family discover that Sophie and her boyfriend had secretly had twin sons 4 years earlier, Sunny and Dawn. The family quickly took the boys in, registering them under Victoria's name for their future well-being, claiming they were her children. Later, when Victoria and I got married, the boys took my last name to avoid confusion. As for how we ended up married, it was because Victoria approached my parents saying she wanted to marry me. Since my parents, who were business people, had always wanted to strengthen ties with the Victoria family, they agreed. At first I was against it, but before the wedding I accidentally discovered that Victoria was the girl I had always liked. So I chased after her with all my heart. But no matter what I did, Victoria remained cold and distant. It turned out she had misunderstood me, believing I had cheated on her with her sister. She didn't know how to face me, but at the same time she couldn't let go of me. That's why she married me but kept her distance. She continued, yesterday Mommy told me she found my sister's old computer. It had records proving that you and my sister were only pretending to be together. You never cheated on me or betrayed our relationship. Victoria clung to me tightly, her voice sincere and earnest as she said, Sin, I was wrong. I shouldn't have doubted you. I should have asked you directly. It was my pride that stopped me from asking, and that was my fault. I made your life miserable this past year, and I want to make it up to you with the rest of my life. Sin, will you forgive me? I felt a mix of emotions. When I first learned the truth, I had been shocked and unable to accept it. Much of my feelings for Victoria had worn away. But now, as I calmed down and thought about it, the spark and love I once felt for her hadn't entirely disappeared. Still, people get tired. A year of unrequited effort had worn me out. I didn't say anything. The live chat comments were flooded with crying emojis, begging me to give Victoria another chance. But I remained silent. No. I couldn't let myself be swayed so easily. In the next moment, 2 small, earnest voices called out, Daddy! I turned around to see 2 little figures, one with a round face and one slim, running toward me, each holding onto one of my legs. Daddy, please forgive Mommy, okay? Mommy made a mistake, but just like me, she knows how to make things right. Sunny tugged at my pants and said in a hopeful tone, Daddy, if you want, you can give Mommy a gentle tap, just like you do with me, to remind her to behave. One light tap is all it takes, and she'll understand not to do it again. I was momentarily at a loss for words. Then Donnie added in a calm, sincere voice, Daddy, I can show you that Mommy cares about you. In fact, many times after you've fallen asleep at night, Mommy quietly comes into your room to kiss your face. You just sleep so deeply that you never notice. Startled, I looked down at Victoria, who was still holding on tightly, not letting go. Nestled in my arms, she looked up at me with those captivating eyes filled with an almost imperceptible hint of sadness and grievance. Sigh. How is it that both my son and his aunt, oh wait, my nephew and his aunt, can look so pitiful? I can't stand seeing people look so pitiful. Not far away, the director was clasping his hands together, practically begging me to give in. The comments section was exploding, with the entire internet pleading for me to forgive Victoria and give her another chance. A devoted woman deserves a second chance, they said. After all, Victoria had never truly stopped caring for me. The misunderstandings had simply created a wedge between us, and her coldness had been nothing but a facade. Fine. Under the collective pressure, I reluctantly agreed to Victoria's request for now. But my plan was simple. Agree for now, and after the show, if she reverted to her cold, aloof persona and kept her distance, I'd still go through with the divorce. However, I never got the chance. After the show ended, Victoria, the two little rascals, and I went back home together. From the moment I stepped back into the house, the words cold and aloof completely vanished from Victoria's demeanor. Outside, she was the icy queen fief. At home, she became the sweet, doting wife. Obedient and affectionate, she would occasionally turn into a playful little vixen, teasing me just enough to leave me utterly captivated. It felt like we were back in the honeymoon phase of our relationship. All right, her behavior was acceptable for now. So I decided not to divorce her yet. I'd give her another year of probation. Later, I took over the family business from Sincere, and Victoria stepped away from the entertainment industry to focus on our family. Together, we worked hard to build a home and raise the two kids. Nowadays, our two boys are so well behaved that everyone envies us. On holidays, they even cut fruit for us and massage our legs when we're tired. They follow me around, calling out Daddy every chance they get, and it warms my heart every time. A year later, one morning, Victoria revealed that she was pregnant again. This news sent Sunny and Donnie into a frenzy. I thought they were afraid I might stop loving them, so I quickly reassured them, "Don't worry, boys. You will always be the children Mommy and Daddy love the most. Our love for you will never change." To my surprise, what they were worried about was something entirely different. They were concerned about how they would divide their attention if there was only one baby sister. So, they demanded that we have twin sisters and absolutely no brothers. I was speechless. Clearly, I had overthought the situation. As fate would have it, the genetics in Victoria's family seemed predisposed to twins. Just like Sophie, Victoria was carrying twins. The following year, Victoria gave birth to twin daughters. Both our parents were overjoyed, thrilled to see the family blessed with both sons and daughters. But no one was happier than Sunny and Donnie. With one sister each to dote on, there was no need to fight. The two little guys were finally satisfied. After Victoria was discharged from the hospital, we went to take a family portrait. In the photo, I held Victoria close, the twin baby girls cradled in front of us, and our two sons stood on either side of us, flashing peace signs with their hands. As the photographer clicked the shutter, Victoria leaned close, her red lips brushing against my ear as she whispered, "Darling, I will love you forever." Click. The image froze in time, a family of 6, perfectly whole, perfectly happy, for a lifetime.